Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. Georgian Touliatos, joining us all the way from Athens, Greece, the birthplace of democracy. How are you, sir?
Hello, Ron. Thank you one more time for the invitation. And actually, I want to thank you and Steve Bletchman, editor of Muscular Development Magazine, about my show. And this is a dream of a lifetime to have a show like Dr. Thomas O'Connor, which is the anabolic doc. And we have both contributors in Anabolic's book of Bill Welling. So yes, this is going to be A&Q from the Forum of Muscular Development. And there are plenty of guys that contribute there and participate. And so far we collect numerous questions. So we're going to provide them the answers.
Now I want to let everyone know, for general information, this is a great book that he wrote. Doctor wrote a book called Bodybuilding, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Gives you an incredible overview of PEDs, PED use, breaks them down, how they're used, health problems, benefits, everything you pretty much want to know for the basics about PEDs is in there. You can get it on the website that you see in the background there, gtoul.com. And I was just looking at it, Doctor, and it is mostly in Greek. So how do the English-speaking people find your articles and so forth on there in English?
So yes, they can click on the blog, 2 chapters. First is medical, and second is miscellaneous. So over there are enclosed 60 articles that everything is included also in my book. So basically I spread out my book into a website. And yes, everything is there, plus my videos, what we did, and the podcasts, plus my CV and everything about, including my sports career, my photographs and pictures from and videos from my bodybuilding career.
Yeah, great. Now, the great thing about this show, and I'm so glad that you wanted to do this show, is because Dr. O'Connor is a tremendous resource, but it's a little different slant that he takes. You know, he's about health and longevity and trying to keep us healthy and alive longer. And if you ask him how to use steroids to gain muscle or to get a certain result, he really can't ethically, medically comment on that.
Yes, he doesn't give a blessing to steroids. This is what a physician and a medical doctor should do.
Right. Well,
but he provides a lot of information regarding the anabolic steroids, right?
Yeah, but this is more of a, you know, a lot of the guys have been looking for something more along these lines too. So I'm so glad that we have this show as well, because you know you are an expert on how to use these things, how they've been used.
I walk the talk, and I have this personal experience, and not just go by the book.
Right. So we've got a lot of questions. We're not going to get to every question every week because we're already getting so many good questions. We could probably do 2 of these shows a week if we really wanted to. But let's start with the very first question that came in for you. A gentleman said, my friend is taking 6 IUs of human growth hormone. He takes 1 IU 6 times a day. Is it better to shoot the 6 IU all at once or break it up into 2 shots, and when? So that's a good question.
This is a good question. And actually, there was an IFBB pro from Canada, Jerome Bravo, who answered, questioned me this. Yep. So one of my opinion is, in order growth hormone to work for muscle gains, it has to provide a release of IGF1 from the liver. Now, this is known to be done under higher doses of growth hormone, let's say 8 IUs. This is how growth hormone is linked to cancer, because from 8 IUs and more IGF1 is released from the liver. So there is a link and association between abuse of growth hormone and cancer through the IGF1 release. Wow. Now, if you split the dose into 2 smaller doses, let's say 4 IUs AM, 4 IUs PM, then you have a lesser release of IGF1. And basically what growth hormone does in first place is fat burning. Because when insulin is low, for instance, under ketogenic diet, and growth hormone is stimulated, because fasting is one of the reasons that growth hormone is stimulated, then fat burning occurs. And this takes place because it happens gluconeogenesis in the liver, and then the liver releases glycogen into the bloodstream. This is another case why growth hormone is diabetogenic, and it can induce insulin resistance. So having small dose of growth hormone, it induces fat burning, while one single higher dose it can stimulate more muscle growth through IGF1. And we know that IGF1 is responsible for cellular proliferation and muscle growth. Some people, like Patrick Arnold, deny that hyperplastic phenomena occur in skeletal muscles over 18 in adults. However, other people, like Bill Welling, support this hyperplastic phenomena in skeletal tissue after the age of 18.
Which means more muscle cells are actually produced.
Yes. I mean, more cellular divisions and more muscle fibers. What we know is that every kind of tissue grows, apart from the brain and the eyeballs, because they're enclosed in bone cavities. But what we care about is the muscle tissue, right?
Yeah.
But it's a fact that either the first or the second muscle growth occurs with higher doses of growth hormone and with fat burning. Now, the smaller doses, about 2 IUs, it's more for age management purposes. Now, the timing of the growth hormone, there was what I believe is that growth hormone has to be done during fasting state, first thing in the morning. And why this? From the biochemical environment of growth hormone release from biochemistry and endocrinology and physiology, growth hormone is released under fasting state. For instance, when the dinner is low carb, protein and salad, and then we have this intermittent fasting from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Now, during fasting, when insulin is low and glucagon is high, then growth hormone also is released, and this is how fat burning occurs. But the point is that growth hormone also induces the insulin resistance. So if we have not a serum glucose lower than 100, then we induce this kind of insulin resistance if we use the growth hormone right after a meal. So because also the half-life of the IGF-1 is about 20 to 30 minutes, I suggest in my book also in my clients and my patients to wait for 30 hours in order to eat something and then insulin gets released.
30 minutes right now.
In order to let IGF-1 to work as itself without the presence of insulin.
Okay. So this gentleman who was doing it 6 times a day, there's no way he was in a fasted state 6 times a day.
Now, what time is preferably to do fasting? First thing in the morning and right after the workout. Oh. Because hypothetically, we go to the gym at least 1 to 2 hours fasted after the meal. Yeah. And then we work out for 1 or 2 hours. So the blood glucose is lower right after the training.
If you're doing it right after your training, would you want to wait 30 minutes before you had anything to eat?
Yes, and after you have your shake, and then you go at home and have your lunch or dinner, whatever.
But you would wait 30 minutes after the shot or after your GH before you had your shake, or no?
Yeah, you can do a bit of cardio afterwards.
Okay, gotcha. Now, interesting. We'll talk about IGF some other time, but you just talked about the link between IGF-1 and cancer, correct?
Yes, the IGF-1 releases also is linked to mTOR, the rapamycin, which is the biochemical pathway of muscle growth. Yeah. And this is how metformin is supposed to suppress cancer through lowering of mTOR and IGF-1. Yeah. And however, IGF-1 and growth hormone have exactly the opposite metabolism in carbs. I mean, the one is diabetogenic and hyperglycemic, while the other is hypoglycemic. Okay. So IGF-1 has to be right after we have a meal. Right. Okay. Or post-workout, but after we eat carbs, okay? In order to avoid fatigue and hypoglycemia.
Okay, great answer for the growth hormone users out there. Appreciate it. Here's a good one from a gentleman on the MD forum. And just to throw it out there, guys, officially the questions on this, we'd like you all to go to musculardevelopment.com, register on the No Bull forums, and post. There's going to be a thread, questions for Ask Dr. Testosterone. I'm going to leave that up there, and that's where you can put all your questions for Dr. Touliatos. So, question number 2 this week from Albertos. Which is best for cutting, ECA or Clen, and what's the best, most effective way to take them and the safest way. So ECA or Clen, which do you think is more effective for burning fat?
Okay, ECA stack ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin, and it's supposed to be 30 milligrams of ephedrine, 200 of caffeine, and then 300 of aspirin. It has to be taken right before the workout in order to induce intensity and thermogenesis and fat burning. However, the half-life of these substances are about less than 6 hours. So if you want to have a hard time with squats, a leg workout, and you want to have intensity. Also, the benefit of ECA stack is appetite suppressor. This is something very important during dieting. And also it can increase the fatigue threshold. It works like amphetamines.
Right.
However, clenbuterol, which is also a bronchodilator, and also, but as a matter of fact, ephedrine is also used in allergic rhinitis and when nose runs, because it does vasoconstriction inside the nasal cavities. Now, clenbuterol hydrochloride has a higher half-life, about 36 to 48 hours, and it uses vasodilation, and through this vasodilation also you suck up more air and metabolism stimulated. However, it works perfectly well with T3, triiodothyronine, which is more potent than T4, than thyroxine. So the combo of clenbuterol and T3 works very well for fat burning and beta oxidation of adipose tissue, and it's more prolonged its use rather than the ephedrine, which is the ECA stack, which is used right pre-workout. But also you can use also in the morning the ECA stack and have this appetite suppressor effect, you know.
Yeah.
So I would choose Clen with T3 instead of ECA stack. But ECA stack has other benefits, also appetite suppressor, okay, and thermogenesis.
Would there be any danger in using all of those things?
Yes. Blood pressure. I mean, it has a horrible feeling in the neck, the clenbuterol, which is a blood pressure, also tachycardia, which is speed heart rate.
Scary.
Also, you may have a vasoconstriction in the coronary arteries and ischemic effects.
Yeah, a lot
and
of
also cramps.
A lot of people have the tremors too. The hands are always shaking.
You have cramps in the toes and in the fingers. It's a bad idea to take it on stage. You're gonna sweat more, and you're gonna have hypokalemia, you know, and cramps and spasms.
Yeah, you can tell the guys. Well, it's hard to tell because some of the guys on stage are cramping up from the diuretics.
Yeah, sure, yes.
You know, if you're using 20, 30.
Also, the sweating, the lights, you know, everything.
You know. So, next one comes from Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards wants to know, how do Primobolan tablets, methanolone acetate, compare to Anavar tablets in terms of strength gains and muscle gaining components for males?
Yes, that's a nice one. Anavar oxandrolone is known to be one of the most effective anabolic steroids. Its anabolic index is almost 3 times higher than testosterone. It's about 330 in the anabolics book. Wow. However, Anavar has a low androgenic index, the lowest, as a matter of fact. This is why it's preferable for women. Now, Primobolan, it's a weak anabolic. As a matter of fact, it's weaker than testosterone. And also it has a mild androgenic effect. And acetate was the oral, the peros, that means directly released, unlike the enanthate, which was slower release, like the testosterone enanthate. Yeah. But the point, from my experience, in strongman, in powerlifting, the best drug is halotestin. And why? Because we need androgens to promote strength. For trenbolone, it has very high androgenic, but also anabolic. But testosterone and fluoxymesterone, which is halotestin and testosterone, for my experience, is the best combo for weightlifting and powerlifting. Now, comparing these two drugs, Dr. Thomas OConnor also believed that quite many strongmen of his clients and patients were using Anavar. Yeah. The point is that Anavar also elevates ATP in doses over 50 milligrams. So this is This favors explosive activity like in track and field athletes. All right, so I would say yes, that Anavar is preferable to Primobolan because also it has higher anabolic activity, but it can also boost ATP and creatine phosphate production.
As far as muscle gains, would you choose, if all you cared about was gaining muscle and someone offered you Anavar or Primobolan?
Anavar and Primo do not aromatize and do not cause this estrogenic water retention, which is also some, part of the muscle growth. Okay. But Primo is no longer manufacturing pill. It was about over 20 years ago in Germany.
Wow.
Very, very expensive 50 milligram pills. BioSharing, yes.
I mean, I only saw it on the underground.
It was the safest. It was the safest by far.
Okay. Next question. Is there any discernible difference in water retention between the different testosterone esters?
Yes, of course. I mean, the longest the testosterone, every kind of testosterone aromatitis, if it is suspension, if it is propionate, if it is cypionate, enanthate, or andecanate. The difference is the half-life, and the longer it exists into your system, the more likely it is to aromatize. However, also this is dose-dependent. For instance, myself, the day I won my show at the light heavyweight in 2009, I injected myself 400 milligrams of suspension. So I had 2 double shots in each glute. Wow. And I noticed that one of my nipples had a little bit of bitch teeth. Even though I was using 2 milligrams of Remidex the last week. Wow. Now, the suspension is 100% utilized. There's no ester, so it's best to be used right before the gym, the workout. And it has a short half-life within a few hours, less than 24 hours. So you need every day. It's like the Winstrol. Now, the propionate is released about 80%. The cypionate and enanthate about 70%. And the andecanate is much less, it's about 60%. But the more it stays into your system, the more highly likely it's to aromatize. But also, if you shoot a higher dose or a high dose of suspension without having any aromatase inhibitor, it may, yes, induce aromatization and estrogen within 1 day until it's released.
So of all the esters, which one, if you took 200 milligrams of each of those, you know, suspension, propionate, cypionate, enanthate, undequinate, which one would cause the most water retention?
I mean, in what span of time? Do we have 1 week, 2 weeks?
Well, let's just say someone's concerned about water retention, and they have their choice of all those 5 esters, and they don't want to be puffy. Which one would you recommend?
Propionate and suspension.
Okay, so the faster acting.
The half-life of cypionate and enanthate is about 7 to 9 days. So within the days it's cleared, yes.
All right, next one comes from Squat Junkie. How about Proviron instead of HCG to get the testicles going?
Yes, this is a tricky question. It is known among gurus that Proviron has to be used in PCT. However, this is a mistake, and why? Because every androgen suppresses LH. And every androgen suppresses endogenous testosterone production. So I have noticed that into a patient of mine, he wanted to improve his libido. He was clear, he was natty after a long time of cycling. Yeah. So I wanted him to increase his free testosterone because this is the bioactive and bioavailable. So we get all the benefits from the 2% which is released, which is free. So we give him Proviron, this drug. This is Mesterolone, okay? This is from the pharmacy, which is DHT synthetic, and it catches up SHBG and it crashes down. So it lets free testosterone to go up because these are reversely proportional. However, this is the paradoxical thing, that this free testosterone will eventually aromatize. So what we notice that by giving a bit of Proviron, 25 to 50 milligrams, you're going to notice a slight increase in E2. But of course, this is nothing related to the aromatization that occurs with dianabol or testosterone or with DECA. Now, it is also known that Proviron can also improve FSH. And this is what I noticed in the blood work of my patient, and spermatogenesis production. However, this occurs in people who are already low their FSH. In normal individuals, the long-term of proviron can suppress FSH. So it depends, yes, but it's a fact that proviron is going to suppress HPTA and will lower LH and endogenous testosterone production, even though it's not aromatized, because we know that estrogens close the GnRH from your hypothalamus. But yes, it slightly can. But also we can give DHEA, you know, which is a prohormone from the kidneys, the hydroepiandrosterone, that also as an androgen can lower SHBG and improve libido by free testosterone elevation. Also, we can have masteron, which is, let's say, an injectable form of proviron, of DHT. And yes, with masteron, proviron, and DHEA, we can elevate free testosterone.
Okay. So, are you not a fan of HCG use? You know, for this?
Yes, of course, I am a fan. And HCG and HMG, human menopausal gonadotropin and human chorionic gonadotropin, are the best stacking for bodybuilders who want to improve their not only their sex drive and libido, but also their spermatogenesis. And it does miraculous things. The combination of these two plus vitamin E, which is tocopherol, that improves the sperm motility. Yeah. Yes.
This is for people that are trying to have babies.
Yes, and in minor doses, HCG is better because it mimics the natural production of testosterone, about 100 IUs every day.
Okay. Final question, and we're keeping this short on this premiere episode because we're just going to tease you guys. We want you to come back for more. That's why. So we already have plenty of questions for our next episode. Dr. T, I noticed when I'm using Arimidex on my HRT once per week, the next day I'm always depressed. Is there any connection with the side effects of this medicine? If yes, what do you suggest to me? Thank you in advance. Keep going. You're great. This came to you from Stavros.
Yeah, Stavros is a fellow from Thailand. He's Greek. He was a Greek bodybuilder, and he's a trainer now. We have done also one seminar together. Well, what I believe is that by using Arimidex 1 milligram, you crash on estrogen the day after. And estrogens are related also with serotonin, which is a hormone of joy. So by lowering too much estrogens and below single digits, below 10, you can have this moodiness. So what I suggest him is to use 0.5 milligram, okay, to lower the dose. And also, in order to avoid the aromatase inhibitor, you have to provide more frequent injections with smaller doses. So instead of using, for instance, 100 milligrams once a week, you can divide it twice 25, or even 25 milligrams every other day, in order SHBG not to be crushed by the higher amount of testosterone. And then free testosterone won't aromatize because it catches up. Now, this is the Greek testosterone we have here.
Wow.
This is the enanthate, yes.
You can just walk in the pharmacy and get that?
Yes, without prescription. It's like Mexico here.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But if you are a doctor, it's easier for you. Yeah. But anyway, proviron and testosterone do not require, it's up to the pharmacist mainly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, doctor, that was a very brief first episode, I know, but we'll be doing many, many more, I hope. And this was just a taste, just a preview. This doctor could answer any question you have. He's so.
I hope they're satisfied.
Yeah.
And I mean, time passes so fast. It's almost half an hour, and I didn't realize how it rolls.
I know. I promise, guys. The next one we'll take more questions next time. I promise you. I rushed the doctor today. It's my thing. But doctor, thank you so much. I want everyone to check out the website gtoul.com. Plenty of articles there, and of course, you can get the book there. Bodybuilding, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Is that also on Amazon, doctor?
Yeah, they can purchase it on Amazon, yes. Okay. And also on my website.
Okay. So pick that up. It's a great overview because I notice a lot of times when the doctor posts on Facebook or Instagram, people will ask questions and he immediately directs them to the book because 99% of everything they're asking him is answered in that book. So
yes, plus on the magazine, I also provide each month one article, which is part of my book also. So in March issue, I speak about the liver. In February issue, I spoke about the heart. So yeah, I have plenty of material to give.
Yes, you do. So I'm so glad that you're making yourself available as a resource, because you know, all of us guys out there, we rely on bro science, and it's good to be able to talk to someone like yourself who has the actual scientific answers, the medical answers to all these questions that we're always wondering about. So this is going to be good. This is going to be a really good series, and I'm so glad we're doing it. So everybody, this has just been number 1 of hopefully many, many more episodes of Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Touliatos. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.